'Twas down the glen one easter morn, who was sitting beneath there, rode I, and Ireland's lines of marching men in squadrons clean by. No fight lit on our battle run, it sounded red hot too, but the Angelus bell or the Liffey swell rang out through the foggy. Right proudly high o'er Dublin town, they hung out the flag of war. Was better to die neath an Irish sky than a Tubal or Sudan. And from the plains of royalty, from men came hurrying through, Britannia's sons with our long-range guns sailing through the foggy
We declare the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland and to the unfettered control of Irish destinies, to be sovereign and indefeasible. The long usurpation of that control, of that right by a foreign people and government has not extinguished the right, nor can it ever be extinguished apart from the destruction of the Irish people. In every generation, the Irish people have asserted their right to national freedom and sovereignty. 6 times during the past 300 years, they have asserted it in arms. Standing on that fundamental right, and again asserting it in arms in the face of the world, we hereby proclaim the Irish Republic as a sovereign, independent state. And we pledge our lives and the lives of our comrades in arms to its cause of its freedom, of its welfare, and of its exaltation among the nations. The Irish Republic is entitled to, and hereby claims the allegiance of every Irish man and Irish woman. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all of its citizens, and declares its resolve to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation and all of its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally, and oblivious of the differences carefully fostered by an alien government, which have divided a minority from the majority in the past.
In November 2014, on an infamous evening in our recent history, a night never to be forgotten, our government set out an Ireland Inspires programme that purported to remember that golden generation in the spiritual home of the rising, the GPO. There, on a video screen in front of various state and invited dignitaries from around the globe, the men and women of 1916 were written out of history in the very place where they made history, as if they never lived, as if they never died. Not a single image of a 1916 leader or volunteer, man or woman, appeared on that big screen. The heroes of our history, the fathers of the nation, were replaced by images of, among others, the Queen of England, David Cameron, Dr. Ian Paisley, Brian O'Driscoll, and Bono. What centenary, what commemoration, and what celebration was being planned, many asked. As well they might. Who were the mysterious architects of this charade? We simply do not know. The taming of nationalism moment had arrived. This was a blatant and shameful airbrushing exercise in a distortion of our history in an attempt to distance citizens from that history and diminish and detract from a golden generation of that time, of any time, the likes of which we have not seen since. That GPO airbrushing exercise failed because ordinary men and women, citizens, supported by 1916 relatives, rejected out of hand this disgraceful revisionist attempt to distance citizens from a connection to our past, to our history, to our people and their fight for freedom, their freedom and our freedom. As a direct result of public outcry and the launch of a proposed relative Centenary programme and the Sinn Féin commemorative programme, there is now at last an official state programme of commemoration. But what did they have to fear? What was there to hide? Who is to benefit from the portrayal of that seminal moment in our history as just another event in a decade of historic events? We are to remember all who died in a shared history, we are told. Inclusivity, the new buzzword emanating from those charged with the protection of our history and heritage, multiple wreath-laying ceremonies for all combatants, royal family participation in commemorative events, remembering all who died, rather than honouring those who died in the cause of our freedom. Endless attempts at detracting from the importance of the Rising as a standalone event worthy of commemoration in its own right. In honouring everybody in general, we commemorate nobody in particular. For over 20 years, a generation of our people were told nothing of that extraordinary moment in our history, told nothing of the notion of sacrifice for a high ideal, told nothing of that golden generation, of their aims and their ideals in the creation of a free Ireland from the centre to the sea. The Rising was not so much revised as hidden away. 1916 relatives lived with this insult year in, year out, under successive administrations who occupied their positions of authority as a direct result of the sacrifice of those they choose to forget. The result of this failure to allow a generation access to that knowledge left us a culture of greed and avarice and corruption that did untold damage to politics and society, the effects of which we are still saddled with today. An opportunity in our time to build a society of equality in housing, in education, in health, the great pillars of a civilized society, was squandered and lost on an altar of greed and corruption that haunts us to this day. We need only check the hospital corridors, the hostels and homeless shelters for the evidence. James Connolly held that the freedom of a nation is measured by the freedom of its lowest class. And it was and is that class that paid and continues to pay for the misdeeds of others. A programme of austerity was levelled against an entirely innocent section of society, a society where banks are bailed out of financial difficulty by public funding, while citizens are evicted from their homes by those same banks, where failed and bankrupt developers are deemed experts in business, deserving of enormous salaries paid out of the public purse. A society where over 1,000 children are homeless, where our elderly are left lying on hospital trolleys awaiting medical treatment, where a large section of our young population are forced through financial circumstance to leave the country of their birth, leaving heartbroken and broken families behind in parishes that are fast becoming ghost towns, our best and our brightest lost to us. And all through this time they read of the obscene salary payments, pension plans, lavish lifestyles that a privileged section of our society continue to enjoy, the very section of society willing to sacrifice their country for their lifestyles. Some shamefully still fumbling in that greasy till. One loads of money elected representative is not a minor problem. From where and what circumstance do such people emerge, serving their own interest rather than the interest of those that elect them to public office? Some apparently unable to answer a simple question: do you own property? Without advice and assistance. And those young people who refuse to leave the country of their birth, the leaders of tomorrow, upon whose shoulders the future of our country rests, shake their heads and wonder why. How did it come to this, they ask. How indeed? Perhaps it came to this because along the way, while according to some we all partied, that connection to a proud past was lost. It came to this because a generation of our time had no heroes, for they were never told of them. It came to this because they were never told that freedom did not fall from the sky. They believed that it was always so. So they knew nothing of Clark, MacDermott, MacDonough, Plunkett or Pearse, Kant, Connolly, Markovics, Lynn, Gifford, Skinner, Comerford or Maloney, knew nothing of their contribution to the cultural rebirth of a defeated nation and the rich legacy they left us, that deserves to be embraced and cherished with pride. Pride in our language, not a dismissal of it. Pride in our flag, not a disregard for it. Pride in our anthem, not a replacement of it. Pride in our pursuit of freedom and not an apology for it.
There can be only one song to follow it.
Declaration of freedom heard all around the world. The patriots believed that a better Ireland is possible. We also believe that, and to achieve it, to win their freedom, to win our freedom, they put everything on the line, including their own lives. But of course, Ireland today in the world is a different place from when the leaders of the Rising assembled on Easter Monday. But Irish Republican values, Irish Republican objectives, the core values of the proclamation remain as relevant as ever. The Irish Republic proclaimed in 1916 was committed to pursue the happiness and the prosperity of the whole nation and of all its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally. And at its core is a belief that all people are sovereign and equal. And that historic document is a clear statement of intent for an all-Ireland republic built on the foundations of civil and religious liberty, social justice and equality for all citizens. It remains the mission statement of modern Irish republicanism. Now, like many people, I'm sick to my back teeth listening to Enda Kenny and Joan Burton talking about stability while they perpetuate chaos in the lives of working people. For the last 5 years, time and time again, they have shown, when it counted, that they were on the side of those who follow in the footsteps of William Martin Murphy. Now, if they get into government, it will be the same all over again. Stability for the elites, chaos for working families. Decision after decision taken by this government has caused chaos in communities, in families, and with individuals. Today, there are 427 patients on trolleys because of this government. Hundreds of patients every day lying on hospital corridors. 1,500 children are in emergency accommodation because of this government. There are massive drops in family income because of this government. Vulnerable people are being targeted in the harshest cuts of all because of this government. Cuts to the bereavement grant, home help hours, discretionary medical cards for seriously ill children, all at the will and the behest of this government. Hundreds of thousands of young people gone. The scattering of rural Ireland because of this government. A housing crisis because of this government. So, my friends, we are here tonight to say enough is enough. It has to stop. And I'm standing here tonight asking you to join the rising. Let's have another rising and to be part of a generation demanding and delivering real change. Fine Gael and Labour are trying desperately to set the agenda, particularly Fine Gael, for the general election by presenting the result as a foregone conclusion and then the Kenny as the inevitable Taoiseach. And they hope that many voters who want rid of this government will switch off. They think there's no point and they won't vote at all. And it's up to us to make sure that this does not happen. So 2016 is the time to make change. Mar sin agus dá míle sa sé déag, bhuiil se linn, tá sé an am doing a nachrú a dheanú. And the election has to be about the type of Ireland our people want to live in and the type of Ireland our people want to build. We're very clear. Sinn Féin wants a society based on equality and fairness. We want to deliver a fair recovery for all. And this means helping low and middle-income families by increasing the minimum wage, by abolishing property tax and water charges, by building social and affordable homes and helping those in mortgage distress, by increasing spending on health care to move from a failing two-tier health system to universal health care, to help rebuild rural Ireland by ensuring that our communities and their quality of life is matched by the quality of their public services, and to make this a welcoming place to those who were forced to emigrate over recent years. So let us seize the opportunities 2016 provides. As always, the Republic is in the ownership of the people. So join us. Let's all join together in a new people's rising. Tá mid inis ag cibniú siar ach ag an tám céarna tá mid ag gorc ará. Mar sin, bígí linn. It's time to end the domination of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. After 90 years, their time is up. It's time to elect a progressive Republican government. It's time for a Sinn Féin-led government. That's the opportunity we must seize. So let's do it. Let's dump Labour. Let's dump Fine Gael. Up the Republic. Onwards together. Go Ramila.